Here we are, 7 months after a big protest that required the intervention of the military in order to bust up, only to come to the conclusion that maybe we should probably get rid of these mandates and, maybe we should, restore some rights and freedoms or something like that. We didn't do anything wrong beforehand. Please don't get us wrong. It was still very serious at the time, but because there hasn't been enough public fear-mongering by the mass media, it's about time to just maybe stealthily admit, we weren't necessarily wrong, we were just maybe a little bit misunderstood. But of course, this just comes from an anonymous source, and they always reserve the right to either be incorrect or maybe the science can change when it comes to this. Let's just take a look at a little bit of this, because I can't even believe we're here, September of 2022. When did all of this stuff kick off? March of 2020. Oh, okay, so we're how far along into this? Yeah, and we're still discussing this crap. Yep. If this was only 100 and some odd years ago, oh, they'd be drug out of Parliament Hill and strung up. Oh, don't tease me. The federal government is considering turning the page on pandemic era restrictions. It was supposed to be 15 days to flatten the curve. Now it's got a wonderful little moniker that's right there. Pandemic era. Just rolls right off the tongue, just like they should just roll right off of a fucking cliff. Restrictions ending the COVID-19 vaccination mandate at the border and scrapping random testing requirements, because that's still a thing in Canada. We're a first world country, allegedly. Prime Minister Fun Guy Justin Trudeau and his cabinet have yet to make a final decision. Right now, at least at time of recording, he's over in the UK, posing for very imperialistic looking pictures and some golden would-be thrones, because he sees himself as a would-be monarch, okay? A little bit of a tin pot tyrant, if you will. But no, he's a man of the people, because he can attract 30 some odd % of the constituency to vote for him. That's what we have here. A man of the Greater Toronto area. No further than that. And he ends up reigning over the rest of the country that could actually care less about him. But whatever. But he will soon weigh in on a move that could also spell the end to the unpopular ArriveCan app. Yeah, it's global tracking, okay? And there's also been some ruminations, I think Counter Signal. It's kind of like Rebel News, but I think it was founded. It's another news outlet for up here in Canada. It was an offshoot, or at least a derivation of one of the former journalists who used to work for Rebel News, started his own thing. I seen something that was out there, okay? I haven't reported on it or anything like that. I could pull it up, but I don't really want to delve into this. I just want to get into the fact that the vaccine is proving to be exactly what all of the conspiracy theorists were telling us it was. But they're trying to say that, oh yes, ArriveCan was just a dry run for putting in Canadian social credit score. That could totally be what ultimately ends up happening, but does it really need to be a grand conspiracy theory, or is it just realizing because Trudeau doesn't necessarily have independent thought of his own, he just goes and looks at some of the greatest dictators of all time and goes, I'll take that policy, that one there. How can I rebrand the Great Leap Forward? Cultural revolution. It doesn't quite sound as good in French. So now that he's off of his high horse for a second, he also stands up and looks around and realizes, oh, everybody else is dropping restrictions and I'm the only guy. I'm the only one left here. Okay, fine. I'll make it go away. And I don't hear anybody like sticking up for the ArriveCan app. It's like, it's just annoying, and you've seen enough of those videos of just senior citizens being accosted. And just to bring back another story, and I know I talked about this at the time, unvaccinated Canadians will no longer face fines up to $5,000 if they can't show proof of a negative test or previous positive infection before entering the country, no longer require quarantine, 14-day hospital. Oh, right, not a hospital, one of their little rape dungeons that they set up at a Hilton. Yeah, that was a fucking funny story. Funny for only one side of that interaction. Like, hey, come on. 9 out of 10 people enjoy a gang rape. And subject to on-arrival testing. Oh, cool. So all of that will finally be scrapped, 30 months into this shit? And we don't even know. Again, this is just a source, a rumor. It's even being labeled as an opinion piece by... I'm not even going to begin to know how to pronounce that. The government is also weighing ending mandatory random testing for vaccinated travelers. Oh, good, because maybe they finally heard the news, or maybe they finally seen what Denmark is doing. Because again, they were one of the first countries this started. Oh, this was way back in like April or May. I think I talked about this in particular. They were telling kids to be like, you can get it if you want, but if you don't want to get it for your kids, we don't necessarily recommend it because we've seen the studies and it looks like it'll probably be fine for all of you. I think that's Danish. If not, it's Swedish or Swedish chef or Muppety. Anyways, a Denmark government advises people under 50 not to get the booster. Wonder what they ended up finding out on that one. Denmark will not offer those under the age of 50 more vaccine boosters. The Danish Health Authority announced this week the purpose of the vaccination is to not prevent infection with the COVID-19, and the people aged under 50 are therefore not being offered the booster vaccination. Cool. It's almost like they're just like, just go back to regular life and just proceed as you will. We don't need to be doing anything else tyrannical. They were one of the first countries to drop everything. I think maybe they'll get into it as to what the restrictions in Denmark actually were. I know people like to lump the Scandinavian countries together mostly when it comes to egalitarian social structures, but when it came to enforcement of vaccine mandates, mask mandates, and all that kind of stuff, they were more or less hands off. But I'm not so sure about Denmark. All of these countries are just, as somebody in North America, especially in Canada, it's just a lot of tall, blonde, dangerous-looking men and attractive-looking women, okay? So it's really tough to differentiate. But the Finns are definitely the short bus of Scandinavia. Anyways, except they produce hella good goaltenders for the NHL. The Scandinavian countries also explicitly dropped any pretense to halt the spread of the coof and announced it will focus on protecting vulnerable individuals. Wow, it's almost like it's what should have happened to begin with. But no. Just jab everybody up, and if you don't want to take the jab, we'll just force you into a fucking 3-star hotel and charge you out the asshole for that. Great, wonderful, fantastic. Including people with compromised immune systems and the elderly. Those people, it said, are most at risk of developing severe COVID-19 cases. Oh, wow, is that a new study? Oh, no, that dates back to what? April of 2020. Instead, the agency has an aim to prevent serious illness, hospitalization, and death. Wow, imagine that. As far as you'd want a public health authority to really go with any of the policies. Weird. The health authority noted that people under the age of 50 are generally not at particularly higher risk of becoming severely ill from the virus. Wow. I'm so glad at least somebody can admit that. How long will it take before other world leaders start to pick up that talking point? As soon as they can start to put the whole, the jab was never actually our idea. It was just the orange man's thing with Operation Warp Speed, and you can blame him for everything. As soon as that narrative successfully flips, we're just going to have to wait for that indictment if it's ever going to come out of Mar-a-Lago one way or another. The special master is going to be looking over the documents, so don't anticipate anything. And if you don't hear anything about it before the midterm elections happen, don't anticipate anything. But if they're going to indict him, it'll probably come midway through October. So we got a couple of weeks before we hear anything. I'm thinking of that, because that's all it's for anyways. But no, that'll be where the narrative flips, because I did something on that a few weeks ago. It was a Politico article. Anyways, Denmark was one of the first countries in the world to stop giving vaccines to healthy children. The UK has recently followed suit and ended giving the coof vaccines to children under the age of 11. Gee, I wonder why they made that decision. Well, I know exactly why. COVID-19 vaccine effectiveness estimated to turn negative over time in children. It's almost like the healthy people should just look to maintain a healthy and active immune system as opposed to force drugs into their system. Who could have possibly ever seen that happen? The effectiveness of the Pfizer jab against infection turned negative over time for children aged 5 to 11, according to a new study. I wonder if it was a point of diminishing returns for anybody younger than the age of 4, because remember, those got authorized and it was trying to be enforced out there, but 5 to 11, that was the one where it's like, ooh, should we really be doing that? Shut up, bigot. Do you want kids to die? Well, they weren't really before. Shut up. Researchers find that kids in this age group, the effectiveness peaked at 60% to 70% several weeks after the first dose. And then it dropped, nearing 0 at week 18. Weird. We could talk about things that get worse, but I've actually been doing on my second channel. I think there's a link in the description, and if not, it should be there. Anyways, and if it isn't, I'll make it so, but I'm pretty sure that it is. If you're looking for anything when it comes to vaccine-related injuries, I've been doing a couple of videos over the past couple of weeks that specifically talk about this stuff because, hey, I don't need to get too animated. We're just taking a look at the facts at this point. Things that we've been pilloried as being conspiracy theorists over have just now become true. Oh, cool. You want to force people on the jabs? Do you know the consequences of that? Nope, and shut up. There aren't going to be any. Oh, okay, cool. Why are they pulling miles-long fibrous strands that they can't quite figure out what the fuck they are and where the fuck they come from people's arms? Oh, okay, after they die. Why is that weird phenomenon spiked in the late part of 2020 and then went overblown in 2021? Can anybody fucking figure this stuff out? No? Okay. Why are they finding metal particles in people as well that they do blood tests after certain things happen to them? Fucking weird while all that shit is popping out. It's almost like they were banning that type of talk, not but 6 months ago on this very platform, over on Rumble and Odyssey. Okay, those are all fine, and all of those videos are still up and wonderfully monetized. But no, specifically on YouTube, where everything is fact-checked. Now we're coming to the conclusion that, maybe all of this hysteria wasn't all that necessary. Oh, but it sure was a nice run to see how much we could get away with. Anyways, let's just take a look at what they found right here. Okay, so it dropped nearing zero at week 18 for previously uninfected children. Okay, so these are kids that got the jab that never had the coof to begin with. Okay, proper to note. And at week 20 for previously infected children. Oh, okay. So because the kids that would have some kind of natural immunity in their system, they get an extra 2 weeks. Cool. After that, the effectiveness was pegged as turning negative. So what exactly does that mean? Well, I think we can all kind of figure that out, but let's just have it laid out in black and white, which means the vaccinated children are more likely to contract the coof than unvaccinated children. I wonder if you can apply that to geriatrics, nearly octogenarians that never had the coof, got their jab, got their second jab, got their booster jab, got their second booster jab, and then all of a sudden tested positive for the coof, and then recovered in a couple weeks' time, only to test positive once again for another rebound case, as it were, because it was just the medication he was given. I'm not talking about anybody specifically. No. 45 out of 46 people. I mean, that didn't happen to them, so I don't know who I could possibly be talking about. Researchers cautioned against reading too much into the estimates because of the potential confounding factors. Yeah, of course. Our study showed a decline over time of vaccine effectiveness against Omicron infection in children. Oh, is that still? Like, that's been months at this point where it's been the predominant strain that's out there. I'd imagine it should have evolved at this point. But weren't they trying to make BA dot something or other? Like they ran out of catchy names to give this motherfucker at this point, so whatever. However, not many children have been vaccinated for more than 5 months. Good. So there is great uncertainty in the estimate of vaccine effectiveness after 5 months. Oh, okay, cool. Just wait, these things just kind of tend to go in cycles. It's almost like there's a specific season for a certain type of illness that's always on everybody's calendar. It's odd timing, I guess. Thus, one should focus on the trend of waning effectiveness rather than the estimate at the end. Yeah, of course, come on, it works for the first 18 weeks, and then after that, you're just kind of on your own. Make sure to get your jab, though. Unfucking believable. Like I said before, we could get into the side effects, but I do that on the second channel, mostly because it's just fun content, and I don't really want to kill the flow of all the fun political stuff that's on here. Long and short of it is, Denmark's been based since day one. Trudeau's finally coming around to some stuff. Good, just cut a little hole open in the border for me so I can leave through this fucking socialist hellhole so I don't have to be stuck here for a second go-round of whatever the fuck's going to be declared the next national health emergency. And kids, I don't know, maybe they should just be allowed to be kids. How about that one? Stop infecting their minds with stupid drag queens reading them fucking books about how it's okay to be fondled by an older adult, and then stop infecting their bodies with useless fucking jabs. That'll eventually lead to them being more likely to be infected, but don't look too far into it. Fuck off. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.